I
I
mean,
there's a lot of people to feed.
That.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Nerds, One Quest. I am your host and DM, JC Dipner, here with these three nerds, because you know math is hard. And I think we'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas. That man in the Christmas PJs with Grogu on him, that is one Tom M. Norman playing Eberron. You psyched for Wednesday, buddy?
Yeah.
It's coming.
Merry Christmas all. Yes, I am very excited for Wednesday. I am very excited to be playing D&D, and I am very sad that I still had you muted when you said 6 fucking geese, because that was the perfect intro into this show coming on, is the end of a conversation about birds ending with 6 fucking geese.
6 fucking geese. Well, they are a laying, you know. That man down his head agreeing with me, looking like he's ready to head out to a Christmas party in the red plaid, is one Ryan Crixakukta. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, it's basically the only red shirt I have that doesn't have a big Wisconsin Badgers W on it. So
You make that sound like that's a bad thing.
it is not a bad thing. But what I am saying is, let's do some D&D today. Let's not pimp for the sports today. So.
That sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And last but not least, the clean-shaven, the less hairy, the lore master, the legend, the lazy dragon, Jeff Doc Williams. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. I'm not wearing red. My last red shirt became one of my children's zombie costumes and is no longer wearable in public, at least in normal public. So
Makes sense.
Got holes in the boobies.
Dead inside.
it's mostly shredded. Yeah. So
Holy crap.
Is that
I'm
like
looking at...
being nearly headless? So, Jeff.
All right.
You
Recap
wanna get us
time.
into things. I got a hard out at 9:30 today, so let's get this show on the road.
All right. I'll make her quick. We came up from our last episode under the water and traveled our way to Brent Shander. Came into town telling stories, shopping. There was a chewinga that needed a delivery. There was a party at night. We slept over in Bryn Shander. The next day, did some planning, headed to Lonelywood. Found the Belching Dragon to be super busy and a number of people there, and that created Doc's dilemma of wanting to stay but also wanting to go at the same time. We met a couple of additional characters that may become part of the story, maybe not. We'll find out. And yeah, I think that's the long and the short of it. Actually, just the short of it. So, Bryn Shander treats Crixus like a star. Finding a cure for Eberron might be far. Doc is out for this mission because he wants to go fishing and spend some time tending the bar.
Nice. The Crixus looks sad. Crixus has a sad.
Yeah,
I
there's...
don't have a video feed right now.
Yeah, there's something going on with...
Oh no.
Twitch has been jacked up cluster. I mean, we're still recording, so we can just do the show and just not have video, I guess. I'm trying to find...
See what you figure out as we move along here. Move along.
Yeah, I just need to figure out how to change regions.
Move along.
Crixus is playing a soundtrack in my head in the bar right now. I mean, it started with "Should I Stay or Should I Go" by. So now apparently it's "Move Along" by whoever that punk pop group is from the 2000s.
I don't
Doc.
recall.
Yeah, I forget what they're called. I do not recall their name. Someone will say it and I'll go, oh, fuck, yeah, that was it. Doc sitting through the course of the night. We kind of left you guys at the bar. It was like an overnight into the morning type thing, and you were trying to determine what you were going to do. That night in the bar, Valine actually approaches you at one point when things start calming down and people have headed home. She looks at you and says, there's rumors that you may be staying behind.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's kind of what I was looking for. A place like this. And the only thing keeping me from settling down earlier was the constant cold and darkness. Now that that's taken care of, at least for now, this is really interesting to me to stay.
For now, you said it. For now, it's not over. There's a chance. I don't know
where
how
you're
long it may
going,
be. There's a
right? But
chance
where
she
you're
could come
going,
back.
where you're going though is not where Oral is. So, where you're going. I don't know. I think I'm better off here, and if the darkness comes back, then we know where to find her.
Is there anything I can do to get you to go along? I trust you. You're one of the few I trust here.
I don't know. I don't really have anything in mind. Does seem like there's some capable people here, though, that, again, I don't know about trust, but there's definitely some capable adventurers here. Have you talked to any of them? There's definitely some...
I have not. You were the one in the party. You were the one I trusted the most. You were the one I could rely on to act in accordance with your nature. You were consistent and strong in your presence in this party. Eberron is a loose cannon that could go any which way, and Crixus has an occasion to let his emotions control his actions. So, I'd hate to lose you, the one thing I could rely on and count on in combat. I guess I'll have to make do if your choice is made, which it sounds like it is. If we need your help, can we come and get you?
Sure. Just, if you get in trouble, send a message.
Have you talked to these other people?
Yeah, I've talked to a few of them.
Who do you think should go? Who do you pick? Who is your...
Well, if you're looking at trust, I mean...
Doc, you just have this insatiable urge to start giggling at this point, because you've gotten very serious.
Yeah, Doc has been giggling the whole time, kind of chuckling under his breath, and yeah. So he would, in the conversation with Valine, he would mention, Triss seems capable, but she hasn't been here long, so she doesn't know our customs very well, but she seems like she could handle herself in a fight. Although she may be the one provoking the fight, depending on she seems to be offended easily.
Yeah, don't want that.
From what I can tell from Oscar's got some skills, but he always seems to be looking over his shoulder. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Or, even he's...
Maybe he looks at you and says, maybe his hand, which causes you to get a giggle fit.
Yeah. He's definitely got some incredible magic powers, but, I don't know if another magic user is what you need on your trip.
That is.
Although for curing Eberron, I know you need something. Jacob, he seems the most stable. He seems to be the most helpful. He hasn't stopped all night, other than to the few chats. He's been helpful. I talked to Ellie. She seems to think he's a good guy. He seems pretty interested in proving himself, showing that he can do a good job. But he doesn't seem like he's doing it for himself. He seems like it's, part of his job to do good, to help people, or to just to be there.
He seems like he's looking for something. He's always got his eyes open. Where Oscar's kind of looking over his shoulder, Jacob always just seems to be aware of his surroundings, taking it in. And...
Yeah, it seems like Oscar sometimes is looking behind him. Jacob seems to be looking at his future. He's always looking for the next thing he can do, the next thing he can fix, the next person he can help. Just seems, again, we've only seen him in the context of the bar here, but he seems like he's
had
doing
Bor
good.
over his shoulders, so
Mm-hmm.
he's got some skill apparently. At this point, Eliana kind of walks up, sits down next to you, just looks over and says, "Doc, you aren't letting her talk you into going, are you?"
She's definitely trying.
Valine kind of shoots a look at Ellie like, "Get out of here!" Like, and as your conversation starts up with Ellie, Valine takes off. She gets up and kind of walks away, realizing that this is over. And she seems grumpy, a little grumpy by that. Crixus, you are, I don't know, where are you? Sitting in the bar.
outside on the porch area.
Oh, that's
with
right.
a tall mug of ale.
We did that at the end. That's where we all were, out on the porch, because Eberron was unable to be inside, and we had some people that were.
Eberron just went out to the porch.
Yep. Jacob comes by at one moment and says, "Can I get you anything?"
I'd like to talk about your future, boy.
Jeff, if you want to have this
Sure.
conversation with him.
Eliana
Eliana actually came and talked to Jacob and said that they need help. So that's the premise of him coming out to check on them. He was going to strike up that conversation. So I'll let you take it from there. It's your character.
Yes. Let me pull up his character here.
There's some thought that one of our travelers, a very important individual, is staying back here at the bar, which leaves us with a gap to fill for a good fighter. Word is that you can handle yourself.
Eberron, you can hear this conversation happening.
All right.
Yes. And yeah, Jacob would go in a little bit not fully into a backstory, but that he's been traveling with his members of his house and his family since he was old enough to travel, and they do a lot of delivery work, escort work. They take travel with people, sometimes of importance, and they go through dangerous territory, and there have been fights and there have been things, and he's trained himself as a ranger, best with a bow, but also good with a sword if need be. that he's been doing that. Yeah, he looks young. He's 22, but he looks younger. He's not completely clean shaven, but you can definitely tell appearance is important. But you get the impression that it's not because he's arrogant or vain, that he's just trying to make sure that his house and his family is well represented like a business. So he definitely says, if and I'm assuming at this point he's kind of getting wind of that it's Doc that's not going along, and he would definitely say like he's not, that he's not going to be able to wield an axe or hammer or whatever the dwarf does from a sheer strength standpoint, but he's got some other skills.
Indeed. So, do you have any magic? What are the limits to your skill set?
I have some magic, as rangers sometimes do. A little bit of training in a few things. I can do a little bit of healing. I can detect magic. I can do a few other things. We're in the business of delivering, and sometimes we need to locate things or make sure we have the correct package. So there's some more of those skills. Not a lot of combat spells, more utilitarian type stuff. I have a few tricks about.
Aaron, while they're talking, make a perception check.
Very good.
14.
14. Out in the woods, a distance, you see something shift amongst the snow. It being dark again. You had kind of gotten used to the light, but the sun having gone down. You see something shift and move. It does not seem threatening. But out in the woods, there is a presence that catches your attention as they're talking.
Okay, I would keep that to myself, and yeah, I think I would keep that to myself. I would not let them know. Just if I don't feel threatened, it's just not gonna bother me. I'll keep my eyes out and I'll kind of follow it, but.
Mm-hmm.
Crixus will just kind of keep chatting with Jacob a little bit about what he would do in certain combat situations.
Okay. You get a good read on trying to just dial in on Jacob being Ellie's recommendation.
Mostly if I think he's young and hasty without much thought, or if I think he, is intelligent enough to consider the situation before he dives in.
Yeah, I think you get.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you get the impression that this wouldn't be his first rodeo. This is he's been doing this kind of stuff for a while. Again, he hasn't been adventuring like you guys have, doing the dungeon delves and that kind of thing, because that's not typically what he would be required to do. So that would be a little new to him, but he, definitely isn't new to combat and training.
As the night progresses, Ellie's kind of she's more and more on edge. You see as you watch her, make an insight check. Any of you that want to, that you see her going by. I imagine Crixus would have been keeping an eye on her closer. Doc's going about his business, enjoying his stuff.
Aaron would not have. He probably would have pay attention to.
I was gonna say Aaron probably doesn't give two shits.
Well, not that he doesn't care. It's that he's more
Yeah.
concerned right now with the thing that's going on outside.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't really care.
4.
Yeah, Doc has no clue. He's in on this stuff.
Doc's starting in on the cups.
And 11, Crix is watching her. You can tell that she is torn. She's not going to be happy no matter which way this goes. There's a cloud in both these situations and a silver lining to both of them. So, her opinion most of the night, when the conversation starts talking about Doc staying and Jacob going, or Jacob staying and Doc going, she tends to get very quiet and walk away. Night goes on, drinking is had, and Aaron adds more to his goatee, I imagine.
He would attempt.
And frustration, and eventually it ends up he's ZZ topping it.
So at some point, I would probably have a conversation with Crixus about it as well.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So after we get done, because I wouldn't ask any questions necessarily if I'm able to listen in on Crixus's conversation with Jacob. I would.
Would you?
Plus, you're totally sober.
Also,
Totally
there
sober,
is
yeah.
that.
Yeah, would you do this publicly, or would you wait for a moment to try and pull him off to a corner and have a private conversation?
I would wait for Jacob to go back inside, and then it would just be Crixus and I out on the pit. And if Valine's there too, it doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
I would say,
Valine is kind of frustrated. She's gone to her room for the night.
okay.
She made a plea to Doc, and it didn't go well, but you don't know that. So, in her mind, it didn't go well.
So yeah, I would look at Crixus and say, thoughts?
Well, I do believe Doc is our best option. However, his heart is not in it. He should stay here and protect the bar, protect Ellie, protect our interests, continue to grow this business into something that can get the word out if need be. If Oral were to return, we need people we can trust to communicate these messages. That, in my mind, leaves Triss, the fairy, and
At this point, you hear a
Jacob.
tremendous crash as she drops a bunch of steins of ale. And you hear her swearing.
And then Crixus laughs and says, but Triss might be more trouble than she's worth.
So we need someone who can fight. And right now Jacob seems to be the most, from what I can tell, the most skilled maybe at that. Triss seems to be immature, but she's magic.
Crixus then just says, Jacob comes highly recommended from Ellie. She seems to know that he is extremely skilled.
But take that from the source. Did you not notice that Jacob and Ellie seem to be, how do I put
Ellie
this
is-
gently, doing
Ellie
the
is
dirty
sweet
dance?
on Jacob. Ellie is sweet on Jacob, but it's a similar relationship to Ellie and Aranon. Jacob
it?
isn't. He's not the asshole that Aranon is, so he's trying to play it off lightly. But it's a similar situation.
Oh, I thought you had made it sound like they were, kind of.
Oh no, they aren't
poking the bear,
they
so
aren't
to speak.
lovey-dovey necessarily. Jacob's got other motivations right now that don't include finding a girlfriend or wife.
Okay.
He has other things he wants to do. and you can tell that by watching the two of them. She is sweet on him, and he is polite to her. But it's polite, kind of keep you at arm's length.
Mm-hmm. And then I would also say, I think we can probably take the rabbit off the table. We can put the rabbit back in the hat.
I was gonna say, what did you do to Oscar? You taking him off the table? Why was he on the table in the first place?
I mean, Aaron could be
With
kind of
an
hungry.
apple in his mouth.
I know it's Christmas feast and time and all, but
The rabbit seems a bit scared and unprepared to me. Maybe
Yes.
extremely powerful, however. How will that come through in our travels? I'm unsure.
It's an unknown factor. He seems very skittish and very, for lack of better words, considering he is a rabbit, wild. And he's also
Indeed.
missing a hand.
wild is a
going
fair
to say
description.
that, Oh. So Crixus makes it clear in the communication that although he thinks both are serviceable, that it sounds Jacob is the best fit based on him being a more seasoned traveler and fighter. That he would be more level-headed as we travel to unknown parts.
And I would agree with that.
All right. Do either one of you, coming to the end of this conversation, do either one of you go say anything to Jacob tonight?
I
Oh,
would
yes.
leave that. Yeah, I would leave that up to Crixus because obviously I can't go inside, so I would have to either wait for him to come out.
I'm not trying to kidnap Jacob on the way out the door tomorrow morning, so
Yeah, so
Crixus
tomorrow
is
morning,
going to try to find him.
as he goes outside to get some wood for the fire, I'll just jump from behind
Bang over the
the
head.
wood pile and throw a bag over his head, and then we'll run away on the dog sled.
Just
Oh,
old
I'm
school
thinking about
style.
The implications of what that would do. That moment would be wow. That would be
kinda
an
wanna
interesting
see it.
moment. I kind of want to see it myself. What would happen in that moment would be unreal.
Aaron cannot risk any
That's-
ice limbs falling off.
This is true.
That's the test. Is he
Yeah.
worth coming along? Let's see. If we kidnap him and he does okay, we'll take him.
Like a fraternity trick. Like you
Yeah,
kidnap him,
exactly.
put a bag over his head, throw him into a pit of goats, and hope he finds the right one to poke.
I don't know where that went, but sure.
Is that Revenge of the Nerds?
I don't know. I made it up.
I mean,
Sounds like it.
there's that fantastic scene in Old School where the guy's walking with his wife through the grocery store parking lot, and they pull up in the white van and grab him and
Oh, yeah.
apologize to her, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah. I need to watch that again.
Crixus will go. He'll go have a conversation then with Jacob.
All right. Where are you, Jacob?
Probably
Inside
running around inside, occasionally bringing out stuff for the guys outside. Probably some food that Aaron also can't eat.
That
So
squash
find
needs
the
to go
bar
away,
around
man.
and-
I need beer.
Crixus will just order a beer just to get Jacob's attention. And then when Jacob comes around, invite him to sit. And just have a look on his face like, you will want to accept my invitation to sit with me.
Jacob will sit very courteously. All ears.
And Crixus is going to start convincing him. So, Jacob, is this what you aspire to? Is to assist in a pub? Or do you seek a better opportunity to show your prowess?
Definitely just here because this is where we ended up, and he gets into a little bit of the story of how he got here, and actually how they pretty much all got there. The speaker from Bryn Shander had sent a request for help after the dragon attack because they lost, supplies and people. So he had been in one of the towns, probably Neverwinter, and was selected with the others to run up some supplies. And if as you go through the cities that were left, Lonelywood was probably the last one that he would have stopped at. So he's probably not been here all that long, but this being the last one and not having a next job to do, this is just where he ended up. So if you're looking to travel, you can tell he's wide-eyed and ready to move on to the next helpful traveling adventure.
Jacob, we need someone skilled in combat to travel with us to a magical land that we are unfamiliar with. We do not know what type of monsters or enemies may be lurking where we go, but I can tell from your look and the way you handle yourself that this would be a perfect adventure for you. We need the help, and to be fair, there's nothing more important in this land than trying to stop Oral from what she is currently doing to this world.
That sounds great. I would only ask for a fair wage for a fair day's work, and we'll get you there. We'll get you what you need, and we'll get you back.
There is something in Crixus's story, Jacob, that makes you think you may, where you're going, be able to find something very, very useful to you to help you achieve what you need to achieve here. The talk of the magical items and stuff in this magical city, you think there may be something to that could take care of what I think is your prime concern right now, I assume?
I mean, it's not an overall concern because he's, again, drumming up business is anywhere is fine, but eventually, he does have to find his way home somehow, or figure out whether that's a person who can do it or whether that's an item that, if he can find an item that he can have on his person that will do that for the rest of his days, sounds a lot easier than always trying to find someone to ask a favor of to send him.
Yep. So
better hope it's not something Ernon finds first.
You do notice that while Jacob is outside, he does not. He oddly, you can tell. I mean, he's a human, so you wouldn't expect this of him, but he's not as affected by the cold, even though it's not the deathly cold of the darkness, but it's still cold because it's winter. But he doesn't seem as cold as as you think he should be.
Oh, so he's Canadian.
You got that right, eh?
That really should be an accent.
Suddenly has a Canadian accent. Let's go with it.
I did have a furball character who was going to be a Youper, but...
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure that wouldn't annoy the audience at all. Hey, let's take out that dragon, eh?
I think it would have annoyed him just a bit, don't you know?
Take a ride on a boat.
So he says to the parties,
So Crixus is going to look towards Aranon and just like, this is the kid, right? So So Crixus kind of waits for a nonverbal command from Aranon to ask Jacob to formally join the party.
Ernan would, yeah.
And so then Crixus says, Jacob, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. We're headed to a place called Ythrin. I'm not sure, to be honest, what's there, but I know it's adventure, and I know there's magic there, including some items and valuables our imaginations couldn't comprehend. Please join us tomorrow morning as we leave for this adventure.
I can't wait.
You made the right decision, son.
Can't wait to go, eh? Take off, hoser.
Oh, yes, sir, you betcha. This is gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
This
So the night.
these sessions are gonna devolve into Fargo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know it.
So we spend the rest
so-
of the. So we spend some time talking to Doc and decommissioning him. To be fair,
Yeah. Having 2-3 beers with Doc, and
Tree.
you know,
Yeah, having a couple 2-3 beers.
yeah.
And basically robbing him of all of his valuable stuff to go adventuring.
I don't think they'd rob him. I think Doc would,
Well, no, I mean not rob
realizing
him,
that
but-
he's staying behind, start offering stuff up. Do you
Yeah.
do it at night or
Doc
do you do
dumps
it in the
his bag
morning?
out on
Doc?
the table. And...
Later at night, when it's quieter, most of the people have gone home. Doc takes his bag and dumps it on the table. What all falls out of your bag, Doc?
Not
I mean, read your
much,
inventory here,
but,
dude.
I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, you didn't have a
differently
ton of
this-
stuff.
No, I've never really
Well, here, where's
I've
Doc?
never really had a ton.
Inventory.
So the Professor Orb.
Yep,
give it
falls
back
out
to
on the
Crix
table.
because he-
Yeah, you're dumping your bag out on the table, so I need someone to
Yeah.
make a dexterity save to try and catch that orb, because that's going to roll.
Ernon's outside. Ernon's not.
Oh, yeah,
seeing
Ernon's
anything.
outside.
That's true.
Doc, you could probably make that dex save, too, to try and catch it.
Yeah, maybe Doc, you better.
That's better. 18.
Yep, you catch him easily.
All right, I'll then hand them to Crixus. Alchemy Jug.
Yep.
Bulwark Smasher. I don't think anybody can really use.
I would think you would
I
keep
would-
that for yourself, wouldn't you? Just in case.
I would either take it or
Mm.
suggest that it goes in the bar.
I mean,
Next to the
if
Dragon
there's
Slayer.
right, if
Yeah.
there's a chance that you guys are going to need a Doc to come rescue you, he should probably have a weapon. So
Yeah, I imagine, like, the Dragon Slayer longsword going above the mantle. I imagine you guys start putting trophies up in here and things up in here, and I think Doc hanging the Bulwark Smasher on the wall behind the bar is kind of significant. I am here. This is my home. Don't make me pick up my hammer.
yeah,
You
and
won't like
also
it, you won't like it if I pick up my hammer.
right, and also, hey, you guys in the bar, behave because I got my axe. The Hat of Disguise would probably go to Aranon in case he wanted to walk into a town and not look like an Iceman. He's got his armor on, and he, if he knows you guys are going, he would probably offer. It's a breastplate. He would probably offer it to Jacob, knowing that he's like the protector. He's wearing his cloak. He's got his costume clothes from way back, which look ridiculous out on the table with all the rest of the adventuring gear.
What is
he
the
does-
costume? What is the costume clothes?
It would have been a very comedic dwarf costume from when he was in the arena, and it was the only thing he had when he left. So he definitely would have looked like something from a poorly scripted musical.
So like a banana hammock with like pauldrons.
Wow, no, I don't even want to think about that.
You know,
Was it
hey,
a
you know
banana
that's the
hammock with
highest
what?
AC you can get, right?
Banana
That
hammock
goes
with
both
what?
ways, men and women. The less armor there is there, the higher the AC. That's just rules.
He's got from Bryn Shander. He's got the crossbow, the acid crossbow bolts, and the heavy crossbow. If anyone wants to try to wield a heavy crossbow, or if you have a crossbow, you can have the acid bolts. And then he's got the old.
Would I be
The
able to
acid
use
bolts
acid
would be
bolts
good.
with my arrow?
Sure.
Or with my bow?
Yeah. Not with your
No,
bow,
not
with
with
your
a
hand
bow.
crossbows.
Oh, my
Your
hand crossbows.
I would say, yeah.
The hand crossbows weren't magic. I think they're made of ice.
That's a good point.
I would still take the acid arrows
But
just for
you're
when
welcome
I
to
get
take
better.
them with. He has his old dagger, which is really just a kitchen knife that's been sharpened to a nicer point. A drinking.
Make a perception check when you start going through the stuff and you pick up the old rusty kitchen knife that is a dagger.
It is a 5.
It is a 5. Crixus, make one as well. Actually, make it an advantage too, because Oscar would have yeah.
I mean, my
Crixus,
first roll is 20.
When you hold that up, there is something. Oscar, there's PTSD, and he jumps behind the bar at seeing this old rusty knife. There's something in his mind that really kind of triggered him.
As a rabbit, he actually does hop over the bar with no.
Yeah, he doesn't touch anything.
Difficulty.
He gets behind the bar. He hides right away when he sees that old rusty knife. There's something there that is just not good for his head.
Crixus nods confidently, removing the rabbit from the conversation was a great idea.
Yeah.
There's a drinking horn that I think we took from the Durgar. The giant flask that he purchased. The hand axe, which was probably a wood cutting axe at one point. His horn of silent alarm that he can make horns in your head. 2 short javelins, kobold-sized javelins. His old maul, which has seen better days, also a heavy weapon. Then he's got the typical stuff: rope, water skin, bedroll, ink pen, mess kit, ration, smith tools, tinderbox, torch, and that's it.
I think that horn,
he's got
someone
less
may
than
want
100
the horn.
gold.
If no one takes the horn, I imagine Doc would hang that up in as well.
Yeah, Doc would offer it grudgingly, knowing that they are going to come back. If they need it, it's better if they have it than if it's just sitting on a wall. But again, it's a reminder of his past. Mm-hmm. So he actually probably burned the costume clothes when they came out. Just threw them right in the fire.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think the
that's all he has.
Although the Horn of Silent Alarm is probably the most useful item that we're gonna leave here at the bar. I don't think there's a reason to take it from Doc. As a matter of fact, I think it's almost more helpful if Doc has it in town and can provide some alarm to the townspeople. But
yeah,
we're comfortable leaving that behind. So really what we're talking about is, unless you want some javelins and things like that, what we're really just the alchemy jug, the professor, obviously, which Crixus will take, and then the hat of disguise should go to Eranon too, and that's really all that we'd take.
And then the bolts.
The crossbow bolts.
The bolts, and then the breastplate, if Jacob can use that.
Yep. And since Doc is a barbarian now, he actually, whether he's wearing that armor or not, has the same AC. So he doesn't lose anything by giving up the armor.
Interesting.
All right.
That's cool.
So you end up sorting through the stuff, divvying it up to the appropriate parties. You guys have a good night rest. You can take a long rest. You guys are level 8, aren't you? You should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I told you that
And,
after the...
and I think I assumed Jacob would be level 8 also.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yep.
level 1.
No, he's not level 1. He's been doing some work from where he's from. They wouldn't send a level 1 adventurer out to do what Jacob
No.
did.
And we're not going to want one in your Thrin, so...
No, not at all.
Crixus,
So you set up...
did you ever add that potion of healing, Crixus?
I
I
never did.
All right, because I'm going to take one out of my inventory.
I never put them in my inventory, but you guys gave Doc two potions of greater healing that he definitely would not. He would definitely make sure you guys take.
Yep.
I'll take one, you take one.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So then you guys divvy everything up and have a good night, a long rest, and get together in the morning. When you get together outside the inn in the morning, the Valine's already out there, got her sleds with her dire wolves hooked up to it. The dire wolves seem a little edgy this morning. Just a little bit, something's unsettling them. Valine's kind of keeping an eye out. When you come out there, you notice she's just watching the wood line. Eberron, through the night, you would have, if you woke up at all, or actually you don't technically, I don't think you need to sleep as a block of ice, something kind of nice.
Yeah.
You would have noticed the figure in the woods moving around again. Bit larger than a humanoid. But there's definitely something out there that is just has a presence. It's like not trying to hide necessarily, but not trying to be seen either. It's moving with a familiarity to the area.
I would. And it's. You said it's following us, or it's just kind of meandering?
No, it just seemed it's in the woods, out in the woods, like it's like home. It's like wildlife or something there. You think it may be a boar or something that's out there?
Let's send Jacob out to see what it is.
Yeah, because Eberron would want to, but Eberron would not want to get attacked by an animal and lose a limb.
Is this middle of the night, or when is this?
This if Crixus is around, it's in the morning. Unless Eberron woke someone up in the middle of the night, but Eberron just marked its presence again in the middle of the night at one point.
Yeah, then.
It is. I mean, you see it in the morning, Eberron. You know what to look for at this point to see it, and it's up to you whether or not you point it out to Valine. She seems to be looking to the woodline because the wolves are agitated.
Yeah, I would point it out to everybody at this point, because it would not be the first time I've seen it, and it would be something of interest.
Okay, and she sees it, and she's like, "Huh, it doesn't look threatening."
Yeah, I don't have any inkling that it's dangerous. It hasn't approached. I've seen it several times. It just seems to be content to wander in the woods, I guess.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm not gonna bother.
I'll
if
say,
it's not gonna bother me.
When you guys come out, well, Eberron, you'd probably see him leave, but Doc would want to definitely watch the sunrise while sitting probably on a dock on the lake, and that kind of solidifies his decision, like that he made the right choice as he watches the sunrise, and he's sitting there looking at the sunrise, the bar, the lake, everything that he kind of dreamed of when he left his left the arena initially like this is definitely where he wants to be and why he wanted to be here. So Doc is happy with his decision. Last night he was like, I know this is the right decision, but I don't know why. And now this morning he's like, yeah, this is it. This is why I'm here. Or this is what I came for. Jacob doesn't have a lot. Well, all of his stuff fits in a pack that he carries with him. So he'd come out when he sees you guys getting ready. He'd come out and make sure he's ready to go when you guys are ready to go.
All right. You guys have the sleds all packed up. Doc comes back about the time you guys have the sleds all packed up. You're all down there and ready to go. Ellie comes out the door. And she's got this little bundle of stuff. Actually, a couple of them. And she hands one to Eberron. She says, this one's for you. And this one's for Crixus. And then this one's for you, Jacob. And she puts it in his hands, and you take it with both hands, and as you have it in both hands, she puts her hands on your shoulder quick and gives you a kiss on the cheek. Be careful. And runs back up onto the porch to just kind of watch you guys go.
I don't know if anybody's watching, but Eberron would just kind of shake his head and just kind of roll his eyes.
He throws up ice cubes.
Yeah.
Throws up ice cubes.
Anybody need a cold drink?
Actually, before she runs up onto the porch, she would have given Jacob the second package. The third package would have gone to Crixus. And she would have handed it to him and looked at Crixus and said, take care of him, please.
No harm will come to the boy while I remain alive.
Thank you, Crixus. And if you peek in the... and then she runs up to the porch. If you peek in the little bundles, they're ration bundles. It's a nice, warm, home-cooked breakfast. Just something to get you guys rolling. She absentmindedly made one for Eberron and handed it to him, not thinking about... She isn't thinking much about Eberron anymore. Just like, oh, Eberron's a member of the party. I should hand one to him. Valine looks at you, Eberron, and says, I'll take that if you aren't going to eat it.
I'm going to hand it to her and say, I miss bacon.
I bet you do. Let's go find you a solution for this.
Uh-huh.
And I imagine at that point, unless you have anything to say to Doc or Ellie, they would stand on the porch and watch you guys mush on out of the city.
Nope. I would hop on mine, and I'd probably, give like a, look over the shoulder. Oh, see you later.
And you guys... Oh, Crixus.
Crixus will just say, take care of the belching dragon. I look forward to a shot of the phoenix upon our return.
Sure you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As the last bonus action, as we're heading out of town, Jacob would give his bonus action to send a mental command. Follow.
Okay. And you guys head on out of town. I gotta look at a poster map here. You are heading out from Lonelywood and Meridulodon, which actually seems to dock something that you made note of when you were sitting out there in the sunrise, that the lake is less frozen than it was the day before. It seems to, having the sunrise and having the weather is starting to return to normalcy.
Yeah. Well, and if you allow everything that was said in all of our chats, Oscar sent a lightning bolt across the lake, also shattering some of it. So that helps.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. The leaving Lonelywood, it is a long trek. It is going to be a 10-day, maybe a 10-day and a half to get to the Reggae Glacier. Valine is guiding you guys at a moderate pace. You aren't busting her dogs. Her at a moderate pace, Tom, for a show title, really?
No, I was doing something else, but not now that I am now.
It's an
You know how confusing it is?
old Adam Sandler joke for you young folk.
At a medium pace.
Yep.
You
Just
know
search
how
at a medium
confusing it is
pace.
when you say a 10-day and a half, and I had to think like 10 and a half days? Oh, no, a 10 day is a week. So you're saying like 10 to 15 days.
Yep.
Oh.
10 to 15 days of travel.
Oh,
A fortnight, if you will. um, and that's fortnight as a unit of measure and not the video game. We are not playing a battle royale suddenly, although that would be fun.
you know what's funny?
Actually do it.
I don't
Yes.
think I knew that a week was 10 days.
Oh.
I think I learned
Oh.
something new today.
Once we're out in the open, it's probably going to, once we're away from the cities, they'd probably notice.
Yeah. Well, and you clear the Lonely Wood, head into the northeast. And there's a point where you clear the woods, and there is a. How do you want to describe Tika to them?
So he had kind of mentioned at some point during the night to somebody about a travel companion, but he assumed that everyone knew because everyone had said, Ellie had talked about it and he had mentioned it to Ellie. So he just kind of was under the assumption that you guys had awareness. But as we come out of the woods and it's, we're definitely away from the cities so that there wouldn't be any problems scaring the other citizens, the remaining citizens, you see what appears to be a small dragon following. It's flying. It's small, about the size of a dragon wormling. It's currently silvery white in color, kind of matching the snow, making it harder to see in the snow. And it's flying. It's definitely keeping with you, but it's non-threatening and. It's trying to keep up. I don't know what the pace of the dog sleds are going,
It's
but
moderate. He'd keep up easily enough.
okay.
A baby dragon, you say?
Considering he doesn't have to go around obstacles, he's probably flying pretty well with them, or at least on pace.
Like sometimes I'm remarkably slow at things. The whole irony of this is amazing. It just dawned on me in the moment. I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So, yeah, when we would stop for the night, he would introduce them to it, and when it lands, you see it's more like more like panther shaped than an actual dragon. Think if you're familiar with How to Train Your Dragon, imagine the main dragon, the Night Fury, but in white and without, like, the wings would definitely not be impressive, and the tail, because it's still, it's not a baby, but it's you can tell it's not going to grow to be the size of a real dragon, like an actual dragon. And he introduces it. This is Tika. She's
There's a tense
she's
moment.
a drake.
There's a tense moment when she lands at first with the dire wolves. They get very how would you diffuse that situation, Jacob? Because they're gonna get hackles up, hair standing on the back of their neck.
Yeah, I think, it comes down and it sits down and just kind of like licks its paw like an animal would, and just like this is nothing, like it's no big deal. It's like, I'm just, I landed because we're traveling. Be like, if anybody pulled out weapons, am I jumping?
Yeah.
You're skippy a little bit. You're robot-y.
Okay, I think it got better.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, if anyone pulled out any weapons or anything, Jacob would be like, whoa, it's okay, she's with me. And
Eberron would say,
yeah.
another fucking dragon.
Who took the orb? Crixus, you got the orb?
The orb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a where are you carrying the orb? In your backpack or?
It is currently in my backpack. Yep.
Okay.
It's in his
yeah,
prison
there wouldn't be any
pocket.
comment from him. That orb's like the size of a softball. That would hurt. Anyway,
It's magic, right?
I suppose it shrinks to fit the user.
Yikes.
Again, here we are wondering about the anatomy of a tiefling. Things I don't think I'd discuss on a Sunday morning. So you spend the first night. There's a little tension in the camp with the wolves, but after a day or two, you settle in. The travel is easier than any of the travel you've had so far. You do come across a few blizzards here and there, but overall, over the course of the travel, it goes well. You've done enough travel in the winter that hasn't been a huge deal when the big storms come. You just hunker down and wait for it to pass and then keep moving.
During the overnights, Crixus will be playing the lute.
Okay.
So
Is there anything else any of you guys would like to do on this trip? You have, like I said, 10 to 14 days.
Aaron would just keep reading his book, and he may, because he still has the harp.
Yep.
He may tinker with that a little bit just to see if he can annoy people or actually learn how to use it.
Do you just do that on your own, or do you... Crixus, do you help him with that? Or do you just ignore him and plug your ears?
Absolutely.
How does this go?
If he's willing, I'm gonna be playing and kind of giving him some pointers on harmonizing, and can, try to develop our song that we would play for towns to drum up the the story of TBD.
And
as we
Aaron,
go from town to town.
To pass the time, Aaron would accept the help, and just because it's something new to him and he's learning, he's not so much of a loner where he is above taking any help from anybody, especially on something.
Especially if it's something he's interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to quote Patrick Rothfuss, I will just say that Aaron has a bright, reckless tenor that wanders around looking for notes occasionally. But towards the end of the trip, Aaron and Crixus, some of the stuff that was happening at night while they were playing their instruments actually was quite nice. As Aaron starts to pick up some basic, little bit more advanced than hot cross buns, but some of that early, like "Oh Danny Boy" or something like that. Just a nice tune like that.
Jacob would probably tell some stories of his life so that they can kind of get to know him and some of the things that he's done a little more in detail since they have storytelling time. He'd probably go and do some hunting for food or send Tika to go do some of that too. I'm trying to think if let's see. His favored terrains would be mountains and forests, so he would be trying to steer them towards them because he's most comfortable traveling in the forest and the mountains. I know it's probably mostly tundra that we're crossing, so it's fun for him.
So, you explain more about yourself. Do you actually tell them where you came from?
Yeah, I could. So he's actually from the plain of Eberron. He was making a delivery here. Is how here, and that's his motivation. Eventually, is to find a way back home. He needs to wait a plane shift, but he does not. He does not, and probably will never have his own magic to get to do that himself. unless he finds an item. So he would be looking to discuss that. I mean, you guys do not seem like, you know, teleporting type people, so he's probably not looking for that from you. But
I was gonna say, people. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you just saw me flinch like that, that's when inspiration hits me. I just had a really kind of freaking cool idea, like a massively cool idea. We can talk about it later, guys.
Okay.
Crixus
and Tika is a medium-sized creature, so again fits in a 5x5 square if you're looking meta. So she's not that big. Definitely would be curious about the music. Because in the larger travels that they've gone on, they have traveled with, musicians and things in the party. So definitely will sit and enjoy the music, and is not shy. So definitely, if anyone is wanting to go like pet her or anything, she's not aggressive.
I have a feeling. Okay, a couple of things. I have a feeling that describing Tika and her relation. Is it Tika or Tika?
It's a little of both. If
both.
I could pronounce it somewhere in between, I would.
Tika?
Okay, Tika. I'm gonna say Tika. She at one point, one of the nights when you stop after the music has been played a couple of nights, one of the nights when you stop, as you're setting up camp, Crixus, she just comes kind of bounding over to you, and she's got your loot in her mouth. And she's like nudging you and trying to hand it to you. Like she went and found your loot and she wants to hear the music.
Crixus will play just a couple chords and make a song with "Is it a her?" Or
oh, you're a girl, Dragon. Yes, Jeff has described her as a she. Yes.
Okay, so I will put her name in just a quick couple bars, talking about her gentle ferocity, and her flying velocity, and we'll see what kind of reaction I get.
How does she react, Jeff?
I don't think I have the page open for her intelligence. But she would definitely, if she heard her name, would definitely, just like an animal, like a dog or something, she knows she's being talked about. She's excited about that.
I was gonna say she's probably also excited about the music.
Yeah.
If a dragon could purr, I imagine she did. Another thing that happens, Crix, is about halfway through this trip, you're going along, and suddenly in your head you hear someone say, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" Do you stop? Do you stop your sled? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna skid kind of off to the side, and I typically travel in the front, so
Yep.
I imagine those behind me will follow suit.
To your left. Look to your left, Crixus. To your left, do you see it? Pushing up through the snow.
Crixus will
Don't know what
take
it
a
is.
scan to the left.
It's not hard to see, but pushing up through the snow, there's like a thinner spot in the snow. There's this gorgeous crystalline flower pushing up through the snow. It almost looks like a rose, but it's all blue. He says, "I've never seen something like that."
Crixus will just put his hand up and start trudging through the snow, semi-begrudgingly, but also like interested to see what is so damn important that we would stop traveling in the snow for this.
The flower. Pick the flower. Put it in the satchel.
It is safe for me and my travelers, yes?
Yes. It is something I have not seen before, but it does not look like any poisonous flower I know.
Indeed. So Crixus will take some sort of wrapping. I imagine I've got like my clothes and stuff like that I don't need. So I guess my winter hat, and I'll
Okay.
grab the flour inside of that hat.
Okay. So you grab the flour and you kind of cut it off. You guys watch as Crixus kind of walks out. Does anyone say anything to him as he's walking out off the beaten path out into the snow?
No, I would just kind of
Okay.
watch to see what's going on. And I would probably just, to kind of keep watch, I would be looking around the woods just because when we're stopped, we're a sitting target. And I
Yeah.
would actually probably yell that out to Crixus.
Yeah, so, I mean, Crixus isn't going to say anything because he's talking to the Dark Passenger, but he's also just, like, he's got a signal that he gives to Aranon at this point, like, it's this guy again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
This
so
crazy dude in my head.
yeah, sometimes when Crixus is just talking to himself, like, he's going like this to, like, let everybody else know, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to this guy.
Yep.
So,
And you walk out
totally
to
normal.
you walk out to the to this flower and you pick it and you place it in the satchel, and as you place it in the satchel, there is a gust of wind that comes up and swirls up around you, and you feel the strap on the satchel snap on the back of your neck, and it seems to be burning away in snowflakes. Like it looks like it's burning away, but it's not leaving behind ash and smoke or anything. It's leaving behind a gust of wind and these snowflakes, and it kind of swoops down and hits the satchel, and the satchel moves out in front of you and starts spinning like this. And as it starts spinning like this, you don't see it, Crixus, but you can feel him being drawn from you. You guys, watching him, actually see this like ethereal form being pulled out of his figure and into the satchel, and the whole thing starts spinning, and there's an audible pop as it all disappears in this gentle snowflake fall in the sunlight. Just trails down to the ground, and it's very quiet for a moment.
so Crixus is just, Janth? Janth.
Aranon
And
will
then
yell out.
suddenly, Crixus,
Crixus.
you say that about the point that you think there isn't going to be a response, just comes two words: "Thank you," and that's it. Aranon?
Aranon would yell out, Crixus, you dead, man?
Crixus is just going to say, the hanger-on seems to have gotten what he needs out of us and has moved along.
So, no more voices in your head?
I was just starting to enjoy the company.
Well, coming from a
then-
guy who's completely iced up, it was weird having a guy in your head.
There's no question about it. So Jacob probably is hearing this and like, oh Jesus, what did I hitch my wagon to?
So that moment goes on, and through the trip, these things happen at various points. And one day, near the end of it, you crest a ridge, and as you crest the ridge, you spot there's a dozen humanoids with their cloaks flapping in the wind. They're sweeping down. You can see the glacier maybe a mile away. Hard to say. It runs the skyline. It's really hard to actually measure the distance because you don't know how tall this glacier is. But this dozen humanoids are approaching you guys in a line. And you don't know. It's hard to get a read on whether they're threatening or not. And we'll pick up there next week
Nice.
with them. Man, my nose is killing me today.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a little bit of a cold there.
I got something going on.
Thanks to
Oh,
everybody for popping in today. We had a whole bunch of new viewers and
Nice.
discussion in the chat. Thanks to Jeff Porkins and Solentis this year for following us this fun morning, joining us. Merry Christmas to everybody for popping in today. Hope you all had a great Christmas, great holiday. Have a safe New Year. We should next Sunday maybe up in the air. I should be here, but we are kind of discussing going out of town for a night. So next week we'll be up in the air. Odds are we'll be doing this again, unless somebody else is out.
Yeah, I'd be game to pre-recording Norm and throwing it up there too as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
Possibility.
Okay.
Knowing this, I have all week off, so
Yeah, so do I.
Hinge on when
Ditto.
can get you three together.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll discuss that.
For Wednesday night, I can't do Wednesday night because I'm playing D&D.
Yeah, it's fair. And Friday night's probably out too. I think being New Year's Eve and all.
Well, yeah.
I'm working all week, and Friday night is out for me, but I could try to find an evening.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, thank you for popping in. Join us. We have our Discord. Join
Bless
us
you.
at bit.ly/OurFunDiscord. Get all of our links there for like Twitter and Twitch if you are just a podcast listener. This does go out in podcast. Clearly, I forgot this past Monday, but it usually goes out Monday mornings, 7:30 a.m. Central Time.
Bless you.
We record this 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Sunday mornings. We started a bit early this morning because John has to leave, so that is cool. Give us some support. Share this with other people. Let others know. Give us some ratings wherever
Bless
you get
you.
your podcast from. Good Lord, John. Get a room.
Hey, I'm muted, right? You aren't
Yeah.
hearing that, are you?
You're muted.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But we feel for you.
Yeah. Whatever. Patreon.com/2nerds1quest. We got some cool rewards. For me, for Lazy Dragon, for Crixus, and for Mr. Sneeze-a-Lot. We'll catch you next week. Oh, show titles. Go to the link. We're going to do show titles after this. Okay, now bye.